Happy New Year's, folks, and welcome to Orange Hat Reviews. I am Orange Hat, and before I introduce the rest of the panel, I want to give a big old fuck you to Twitter, because Twitter decided to suspend me, would have been for 14 days, because of my ability to express things better than they know how to pick up a dictionary. So yeah, a big old fuck you to Twitter. And I lost my appeal, even though I appealed and gave them all the reasons they needed to say, yeah, I guess you didn't. I mean, they have gone after a lot of people for a lot worse and even a lot less, but still, fuck you, Twitter. Also, Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday, and I am going to change my picture to my new there we go, because I'm no longer Orange Hat Santa, I'm Orange Hat Reviews. So now, with all that out of the way, welcome to season 2 of the Versus streams, and let's kick this off right. We got the ambassador from the ambassadorial wing and RC from the NYC. So, Ambassador, give yourself a plug.
Well, I am the one, the only, the fabulous, the awesome, the ambassador from, as Mr. Orange had said, the ambassadorial wing, where I talk modern and retro pop culture. I do live streams. I do versus streams. I travel to the far distant corners of the internet. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. And thankfully, thus far, I have never had the Twitter gods smite me. But I stand with those who have been smoten, and I say to Twitter, a big hearty, you are stupid.
Good old Christian values of not swearing. Good job.
And, okay, you are monumentally stupid.
There you go.
And the immortal words of George Clooney from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? You are as dumb as a sack of hammers. And I am exceedingly thrilled and happy to be back on my good friend Orange Hat Reviews as we kick off season 2 of the Versus streams. And I have done many of these. Many of them I have been on the winning side. On some I've been on the losing side. By the way, they are always a blast. And tonight we are in my wheelhouse. We are talking pop culture of the 1980s and 2 icons of the 1980s. John Matrix and John Rambo. Or as they are known, Commando and Rambo. We got all the O's here.
Yep.
That's what she said.
And with us, we also have RC from the NYC. I have seen him in many chats of other streams, and he's always a joy. And when I saw him ask if he wanted to be on this panel, it's like, hey, man, absolutely. So, yeah, welcome, RC. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Orange Hat. Thank you for having me aboard. For those who don't know me, my name is RC. I am a huge fan of all things pop culture, primarily the 80s. I was born in the 70s, but I'm an 80s baby. So, I'm very well known to pop up weird 80s reference in various live streams and chats. Science fiction. I love Westerns. If you have a versus on Westerns, you got me there. So I do not have a YouTube channel yet. It's something I'm working on. I'm in the early stages. I'm hoping to be live with my channel probably sometime in early February.
All right. I'm chewing right now, so sorry, folks.
No problem. Chew it if you got it.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
I said it first.
Jinx.
There's no jinx. We have to say it at the same time. We didn't say it at the same time. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we didn't.
The way I heard it, we both said it at the same time on here.
Well, on my end, we didn't. So there's no jinx.
Whatever. Anyway, how are you doing, Soul Assassin? I see you in the chat. So with this, yes, we got John Rambo, versus John Matrix. It's a battle of the Johns, a battle of the toilets, and it's a battle of the O's. So yeah, let's get into it. So
I see your John is as big as mine.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
Somebody said something about speech. Yep, battle. A way to start the new year: a battle between two dudes with a speech impediment.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
It's not a tumor.
Get to the chopper now.
Never said now.
Movie, but it still works. Well, you can even make the argument. You can even make the argument that John Matrix and Dutch are pretty much the same character, except one has a daughter and one ends up shacking up with a Playboy playmate.
No one. Yeah, Predator playmate. There you go. Now, alrighty. So John Rambo. Everybody knows about John Rambo. He was Army in Vietnam.
Yep.
Now, let me see if I can find this thing. There we go. During his 3-year tour of duty in Vietnam, Rambo had 59 confirmed kills, going on to be decorated with 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars, 4 Purple Hearts, and a Distinguished Service Cross, and the Congressional Medal of Honor.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Pretty much. Now, he has expert training. Oh, I'm getting messages. With all sorts of weaponry. He is very good at setting traps. He is very good he's a master marksman. Let's see here. Skills and abilities. Yep, master marksman, master combatant. He is surgical with a bow and arrow. And he knows how to handle his explosives well. He's knife mastery, stealth, gifted intelligence. This man let's just say that if he was a demigod, Ares would be a very proud daddy.
Yes, he would.
Because
he's so surgical. He's so surgical with that bow and arrow, he can take the scrotum off of a gnat.
Pretty much. Now, he's also a master of guerrilla warfare, meaning you don't play by the conventional rules. You are doing what you have to basically win. And that is one thing I really liked about John Rambo, especially in all of his movies. When he cuts loose, in the first one, he actually warned that cop when things started to get real. He's like, let it go. Let it go, or I'll give you a war you wouldn't believe. Let it go. And this is all the time that Mr. Buddy Hackett is pissing his pants right in front of him. And he then just vanishes. Now, it's like, oh my God, man. And that's when his freaking commanding officer, when they set up the whole police response to hunt down, his freaking Troutman comes in. He's like, you don't understand what you're doing. You're never going to reach him. You send 50 people in there, you're going to need 50 body bags. You send 100 people in there, you're going to need 100 body bags. He is one of the most decorated Vietnam veterans ever. He is one of the most distinguished soldiers that came out of that hell. And what you did, or what you're doing, is only going to provoke him. Because all he did was go into a town, and the cop who fought in the Korean War, not the Vietnam War, he basically ran him out of town, and yet Rambo wanted something to eat. And he even said it on the radio when Troutman tried getting a hold of him. He's like, if it wasn't for that cop, none of this would have happened, especially if he wouldn't have just pushed me around when all I wanted was something to eat. And then the cop's looking like, oh, fuck. He had to rat me out, huh? But yeah, Rambo basically went on a rampage in the first one. He got arrested. A lot of people forget. Yeah, he was arrested at the end of the first movie. And Troutman went to him while he was still incarcerated. He's like, we need your help to rescue POWs. Do we get to win this time? Rambo, he is a soldier of his time, but he also knows how to bring that time to the present. Because when after Rambo 3, where he left everything behind and just retreated into the world, he ends up in Burma in Rambo 4. And I love how he handles that, because his mentality is fuck the world. You guys want to come over here, try changing what is. You want war or peace? That's an accident. War is natural. It is what is. And he also calls out the hypocrisy of the U.S. government when it came to the Vietnam War. Old men start it, young men fight it, and nobody gives a shit. We're all expendable. And you think prayer is going to make that go away? You're coming in here, you're giving them Bibles and books. What the hell is that going to do? Nothing. And he even asked that missionary, he's like, are you bringing in any weapons? Of course not. You ain't changing nothing. And all of these movies that Rambo has done, all the way from First Blood to Last Blood, they're all awareness driven. Rambo, or First Blood, was the awareness of what happened to Vietnam veterans after they came home, how they were mistreated by our own freaking people who should have been thanking them and should have been saying, we are sorry you had to suffer for our government's foolishness, because we should not have involved ourselves in Vietnam. Kennedy's mistake was sending people over there. That was a mistake on Kennedy's behalf.
Yes.
He should never have sent people over there. And I'm not old enough to know what Vietnam was like, because I was born in the 80s, but I do know history. And Rambo 2, First Blood Part 2, it's funny that a lot of people don't realize this, but Rambo was not called Rambo until Rambo 3. It was First Blood and First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, and it's like, whatever happened to Rambo 1 and 2? It's like they were called different names. But yeah, Rambo 2, First Blood Part 2, was raising awareness that we still had people over in Vietnam. We still had POWs over there. And our government fucked them over. Our government was willing to negotiate, but they did it in a very devious way. And because Vietnam had us by the balls. They literally had us by the balls because, well, 1, we got our asses kicked over there. 2, we should never have even been over there. And 3, well, when you're put in that kind of position, you kind of screw yourself. And we all know what happens in Rambo 2 for anybody who has seen the Rambo movies. As soon as he has intelligence of POWs and he's ready to come back, and he even has one, the CIA stooge is like, pull up, get out of there. Do not let him on that damn chopper. And well, he invokes the wrath of Rambo in a very bad way.
Oh, yes.
Now, Rambo 3 was another awareness driven about Russians in Afghanistan and how the Russians went into there and basically took over the region and caused a major worldwide incident. So then there came Rambo, or Rambo 4, which was to draw major awareness to the situation in Burma. This was the most activist-driven of the Rambo movies, even though because most of their special features, if you watch that movie, you see all of them talking about how bad it is in Burma, the Burmese delegations, and how they are raising how the movie was basically made to shine a light on what's going on over there. And the bad guy in that movie was a Karen rebel. And he even told Sly Stallone, he's like, I'm going to do this, but I want you to know that my family is in Burma and they will suffer because of what I am doing. Everybody who is part of Lionsgate and the production of Rambo has a death sentence in Burma. If they step foot inside the country of Myanmar or Burma, they will be killed. Sly, everybody. Weinstein's company, everybody. Schumacher, all of them. Joel Silver, all of them. Anybody who had anything to do with Rambo, if they go into Burma, they're dead, including Julie Benz. So yeah. Oh, and then there's Last Blood, which basically raised awareness of what's going on at the southern border and south of the border, what's going on in Mexico. But here's the thing, everybody really treated that movie as, oh, it's just a movie for this political side. It's like, no, it really wasn't. If you know half of anything about Rambo as much as I do, you know that these movies are awareness driven. And if you knew about Rambo 4, you would have known that this was actually going to be the plot of Rambo 4, but they decided it wasn't the right time for Rambo to be back in the States. Because if you watch the special features, or Sly is like, the original idea was Rambo was back stateside, and it was going to be something as innocuous as the housekeeper's daughter. She was going to go down in or south of the border for a vacation. Stuff was going to happen, and Rambo has to go and bring her back. Well, that's basically the plot of what happens in Rambo Last Blood. Now, a lot of people love to say it's politically driven. It's like, no, it really isn't. There's no politics in it whatsoever. If you're going to say that it's politically driven simply because of the wall that is shown, well, okay, that doesn't mean anything. That's just what's at the border. Now, Rambo, to get back on track, what does he do? When that switch is turned, when that switch is pulled, when he is put into war mode, he thinks and becomes war. This is a man who couldn't escape his past. In Rambo 4, we saw how much he was still entrenched into it. We saw some of the most brilliant things done, some of the most brilliant lines read. Live for nothing or die for something, which is literally a mantra for the Karen rebels in Burma right now. That is their creed, literally. Now, he does not, when he is war, he does not care about the consequences. He is not fighting for his country. He is fighting for himself. He is fighting to destroy the opposition. Yeah. And he will not stop until either he is dead or they are all dead. And he will not care how brutal it is. In that movie, you literally see him tear a man's throat out. You see him cut the head off of another person. You see him spill the guts of another person. You see the traps he sets in Last Blood. This is a man that if you have to fight him, you better not give him any prep time, because he will make you go through a trial of pain. He will make you run a gambit of pain that you will not survive. He is war, pretty much a mortal incarnation of war.
Yep.
Now, does that mean that he is invincible? Absolutely not. We see him get shot. We see him get injured. We see him suffer and whatnot. He has PTSD up the wazoo in the first movie when they're going to give him a shave and they bring up the straight razor. It brings him right back to the torture he had to suffer in Vietnam, where they were cutting him and running the knife across his chest and whatnot. It was just, if you hit the right stressors, you can cause him to freak out. But if you put him into a war-like scenario, I feel sorry for anybody that is in his way. As for John Matrix, Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is Delta Force. These guys,
You don't want to
some of
screw
the
with.
best. Yeah, you don't screw with them. Delta Force Rambo was Army, yes, but they could have put him in SEALs. Now, Delta Force is no laughing matter either. These guys are special, or these guys are counterterrorism. They're special weapons and tactics, sort of like SWAT, but way better. They do the same kind of stuff that Rambo could have been Delta Force as well. They're good with traps. They're good with improvised weaponry. They're good with all sorts of weapons, including bows and improvised melee weapons like a saw blade. A saw blade in the hand of one of these guys is like a frisbee of death, which John Matrix basically shows in that movie. He scalps a dude with it. Except that in the movie, they actually showed just the dude's top of the hair coming off, not the top of his head. But he sets up so many traps in that movie. It's like, you guys really don't want to do anything to piss this man off. And even when it comes down to hand or even knives, he knows what he's doing. He will kill. He will not show you mercy either. I mean, he literally picks up a dude, holds him over the edge of a cliff with one hand, and he's like, you know how I promised I would kill you last?
That's
I
right,
lied.
John. You lied.
And he's like, yeah, that's right, John, you did. I lied. And then he just drops him. That is how cold John Matrix can be. But also the weapons. He raids a freaking gun store that has huh?
It was an army surplus.
Yeah, it was an army surplus. He takes out some of the most he takes out weapons like freaking claymores, mines, and freaking rocket launchers, and gives the woman who arrested him, or gives it to the woman who has betrayed him on one count, but then she has to help him, and so oh my god, she tried shooting that damn thing and shot it backwards, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? That was one of the best moments in that movie, and I'm going to get that movie on my digital library, but I'm waiting for the director's cut to come out on sale first. But yeah,
there was a director's cut of Commando.
Really? It's only like a minute longer. I'm guessing it shows you more graphic scenes.
Ooh,
I mean, Bill Duke, who was in Predator with Schwarzenegger as well, was also in this movie. Yes. And he was a Green Beret. And I love it. He's like, you scared, motherfucker? Well, you should be, because a Green Beret is going to kick your ass. I eat Green Berets for breakfast.
And right now, I'm very hungry.
Yeah. And that fight was so freaking hilarious because
it broke onto an amateur porno.
Basically, it was a lesbian scene. They broke into a freaking lesbian.
Actually, no, it was a guy and a girl.
No, I could have sworn it was two women.
Nope, it was a guy and a girl.
Well, that guy looked very effeminate. Anyway,
it was the 80s.
You need new glasses. I
haven't seen that movie in years, but I still remember it well enough.
It was a guy that looked like a lady.
Exactly, as freaking Aerosmith says. But anyway, so John Matrix, basically, his whole force or his whole former unit is rumored to be getting wiped out, and then is betrayed by one of his unit members, who looks like freaking
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, yeah, it looks like a Freddie Mercury on steroids.
Except the guy's name is Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett, and
I'll be back, Bennett.
I'll
be waiting, John. Sorry.
Thank you. And it just shows you what he will do because they took his daughter, who was played by the absolute insane Alyssa Milano.
But one's hot and very active and very cute.
She was not of age in that movie.
No, she wasn't.
She was like 14
but at one point when she was on Charmed, hubba hubba hubba.
Yeah, she had looks then, I mean, she still technically does kind of have looks, but honestly, it should be illegal for that or for anybody to even have any sort of relationship with her because she's so mentally unstable. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, Soul Assassin, I wasn't always a Christian. But it just,
Hey now.
so, but no, it's just the fact that I've seen that movie more times than I can count. And I know for a fact that it was a dude and a chick, not two chicks.
Well, I'll watch it when I get it, and I'll let you know. But anyway,
well, it's on HBO Max. I could probably watch it after this, and I'll take a screenshot and I'll send it to you.
HBO Max?
As far as I know,
I
think
also
so.
have it, so I'll check it out. I'll actually check it out. Was there supposed to be a sequel to Commando? There was
I don't think
so, but it never happened.
Yeah, I don't think it did well enough, which is a crying shame because that movie is awesome.
Yeah. Now, can he rock a headband like Rambo? He doesn't need to.
No, because he has his own music video. Because think about the music when he's getting all geared up.
Yep. Think about the music when he's just during the introduction when he's carrying that damn tree on his shoulder. So now,
or his daughter, or when they're feeding a deer.
Yeah. Now now that we've given you all the background on these characters, RC from the NYC, we'll start with you first. Who do you think would win?
Ooh. I would have to say Rambo, just because of the fact that he's been. Well, we don't know too much about John Matrix where he's been, but we know Rambo's been in war, and he's seen, and the war molded him. It turned him into who we saw on screen. He was. When we saw the first movie, we saw that he was trying to just get through life, mind his own business. Here comes the town sheriff, and then it goes. We get to see Rambo come out. And then if you notice, there's the most emotional parts of Rambo were in the first movie and in the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else in the middle was just pretty much bang, 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 kind of, especially the second one.
The fourth one did have a lot of lessons to be learned in there as well.
Yeah.
Especially the lessons he was trying to impart onto Julie Benz's character.
Yeah, but that's him showing others. I mean, introspection was more in the first movie because we got to see John Rambo, Vietnam vet, is pretty much
PTSD,
a social outcast,
Yeah.
And then in the last movie, he's kind of he's right where he finally wants to be in his life, and then something happens to his niece, and he's back in Vietnam in a sense. So instead of the Viet Cong, it's the cartel.
Yeah.
So I would have to say I have to give it to Rambo.
All right. Ambassador, who do you think would win?
This is a hard one to hash out, to be honest with you.
How you doing, Fenrir?
Hey, Fenrir, good to see you. Because their skill sets are so blasted similar. Now, the only big difference between John Rambo and John Matrix is, as far as we know, Matrix never fought in Vietnam. And to the best of our knowledge, he doesn't have PTSD or anything like that. And we know that PTSD can be extremely debilitating. I think to a person's mental faculties. Now, we don't know how. We know that John is Delta Force.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a little bit of a leg up in terms of training, whereas John is obviously very top-notch Army, and he's learned a lot on his own through trial and through all the different experiences he's been through. Whereas John with Matrix from Commando, Delta Force, they're some of the very best. They're the ones you send in when you don't have anybody else to send in, or if you want to get the job done right the first time. And the colonel or the General Kirby said, well, you and your team have been all across the world. You've made enemies everywhere. So, as much as I respect Rambo, and I do, I'm going to have to say I'm going to give the edge to Matrix in this.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the simple fact that his training is is in some degree superior. Not to mention, if you look at what he does in one movie, his body count is almost as big, if not bigger, than Rambo's is in all 4 movies that he's in. Or 5 movies. In all 5 movies.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay,
his
maybe
body,
not.
Rambo, I think he tallied up a bigger body count in all 5 movies.
Okay, that's fair. But
yes, they both had a big body count.
Yes, they both had a very large body count. Right. All right, eliminate the body count factor. Bring this simply down to training, and the question is: can Matrix trigger Rambo's PTSD to the point where he's not thinking clearly and not thinking straight, and come in close and with his life skills? Because even Matrix has some stealth skills himself and everything. We do see them to a degree. So I would say I might have to give it to Matrix, although it'd be awfully close.
Well, me, honestly, I do not know who to give it to. I'm actually torn in between both because as I said, they both are. Well, they're both so damn blasted close to being equals. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if it came down to either knife or hand-to-hand, Matrix would win. If it came down to weaponry or ranged weaponry, I think that Rambo would take it. If it came down to freaking running a gambit of traps, Rambo would win again. I mean, there's so many ways that these two could cross paths. And I think, how you doing, Price is Right? Good to see you. And hello to the other people who are in the chat. Thank you for stopping in.
Price is Right actually points out he's a veteran, so I don't know if you want to send him a link, Orange. It's your channel.
Actually, you know what? Price is Right. Let me send you the link, buddy. All right. There we go. And excellent. All right. You got the link, Price is Right. It's in your Twitter DMs. So, yeah, I would like another person to come on in here because really these panels should be at least 4 people. And sadly, a lot of people have, not really shown much interest after a video I did. But,
well, you know what? Those people are narrow-minded and...
don't go there.
All I'm going to say is they're just narrow-minded. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that.
Well, that is your opinion, but I'm not telling you who it was, and that's, it's better if you know who they were, but yeah. Anyway,
Orange, I can make a pretty good guess. Don't worry about it. I won't say anything.
I think what makes this argument a little bit more complicated is that we only see Matrix in one movie. True. Rambo gets fleshed out between 3 decades, so it's like,
4 decades actually. 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s.
That's right. Also,
but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Now, so I think, had there been even I don't know if you folks remember, there was actually a Rambo cartoon. There was a Rambo animated series.
Oh yeah,
I remember. It was pretty decent. Of course they had to tame it down for kids, but
Yeah.
So I mean, Ronald Reagan would constantly refer to Rambo in his speeches.
Yeah.
So,
what's up?
Price is Right. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you.
Hey, Bryce, how's it going?
Yeah, I literally just got off of work. I'm like, damn it, I'm not going to be part of this thing because I'm a big fan of both these guys. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But I also want to give my point of view as far as a veteran myself who served. I didn't serve with Delta Force, but I have served with a couple of Green Berets during my time in the Army. So I've had a little, I guess you'd say, experience with them. So I'll give you insight on that.
Okay.
All right. I would absolutely love it.
Yes,
All right,
please.
so you guys going to continue?
Well, actually, we're just asking people we were just asking each other who would win. So between
Well,
Rambo and Commando, who do you think would win this?
Well, this is my background in the military. Is it would all have to depend on specific types of training because yes, Delta Force is very elite and specially trained, but it's their style and their point. I guess it depends on the mission they're doing is what makes them stand out. But if I had to choose between the two, a Delta Force versus a Green Beret, I gotta give a very slight edge to Green Beret because how specific their training is and their experiences. Big Rambo takes it slightly.
Okay.
Yes, but is Rambo a Green Beret?
Yeah, well, he was a
Yep.
former Green Beret. He was a former Green Beret during the Vietnam War during his time. Yes.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
I actually missed. So
Yeah, I don't know if you guys seen First Blood Part 1, but
yeah.
his colonel, or the guy who was under commando, that he basically laid out that Green Berets are trained to ignore pain, but the overall mission of a Green Beret is to infiltrate enemy lines and quote unquote build a rebellion against their own government. That's basically the simple. I guess that's
Government
probably the
toppler.
simple. Yeah, that's basically the simplest explanation of a Green Beret I can give you. Yeah, they're basically trained to start rebellions in their own country. Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically meant to get in, or they're destabilizers.
Exactly, yeah. But like I said, that's what I mean by specific training as far as Rambo. Yeah, he's literally built to kill in the thousands if he could. But yeah. And as far as John Matrix, yeah, he is Delta Force. I view the Delta Force, from my understanding, is they're not just Army, but they're also a mix of different branches of the military. They have Army, Marines, Navy SEALs, stuff like that. So it's kind of an umbrella elite force kind of thing. But I agree with I think it was a bastard who said that they're everybody's trained elite, but it all depends on their different missions of what they're going for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the other thing, if you're looking at what the Green Berets were designed for, what Delta Force is designed for, Delta Force to certain degrees because they are trained in the same vein as Navy SEALs. They are trained for stealth. Now, Green Berets are trained for stealth missions as well, but Delta Force. You look at some of the movies, like with say with Chuck Norris and everything. Now, I know it's not a completely accurate depiction of Delta Force specifically, but it does give you a. Go ahead, Price.
No, I was just going to say that bringing Chuck Norris would be an unfair fight, but go ahead.
That's true, but
anyway,
it does give you a decent idea of exactly what Delta Force is all about. So. True. I'm thinking if this turns into like a stealth bout or a stealth battle, I'm going to have to give it, even though Rambo's stealth abilities or stealth training is pretty darn good, John's is probably just as good, if not better.
True.
And if the stealth battle culminates in a hand-to-hand contest, with Matrix's size and his knife training and everything, and his sheer strength. Now Rambo's pretty darn strong himself, but I don't see that there's a strength difference there.
Well, the biggest thing for me is not just going to be just strength, but it's also tactical awareness of the environment they're in. So we would have to pick a spot where it'd be a neutral place for both of them to fight, but also the biggest difference between Delta Force and the Green Berets is not only that the Green Berets are trained to be infiltrators in enemy lines, but they're also trained to be survivalists as well. So they can be behind enemy lines for months on end. They're literally trained to live off the land, live off the food there, or whatever, basically to adapt in the battlefield they're in. While as Delta Force, but you're right, they do have more like training with the Navy SEALs, but the Navy SEALs are trained to be global. I guess you call kind of like a global elite force. They go to everywhere, but the only problem is they're like I said, their experiences go to all different types of the world, kind of broadens their experiences compared to what Green Berets have come up with. But digressing from that is, if John Matrix and John Rambo are dropped in the same neutral area, that's where I believe we should have a good debate who would actually win.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you think about all the places that the Green Berets and the Delta Force have been dropped into, I mean, they've been dropped into urban environments, they've been dropped into jungle environments, or all sorts of different environments. There's no place these two guys have not been. So
that's true.
It's almost regardless of where you drop them, they're gonna. Their greatest skill, honestly, for both Matrix and Rambo, is their ability to adapt
to the battlefield. Yeah, that's true.
So,
one thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to mention one more thing, that the biggest difference between their training as far as Delta Force and Green Beret, this is what I've specifically learned in the military, is something called SOC P. I don't know if you got to hear that before, but SOC P is basically mixed martial arts mixed with gunplay, where you're basically using any kind of fighting technique to make yourself a space between you and an opponent, and then rally back to your weapons and shoot them. So that's where Rambo really excels in that sort of area, because we've seen it several times in movies. So
yeah, well, he's almost like a live action version of from the Metal Gear games.
Exactly. Yeah.
CQC. Yeah.
So good.
God, this is actually a pretty good one. I think I put in a pretty even. I mean, yes, or the way I see it, you say that you give the edge, or Ambassador says he gives the edge to Matrix and Stealth. The only thing is, we've seen Rambo go full on mud or go full on mud bath, and to kill his enemies. I mean, he was right up against a tree, mudded up. Dude didn't even know he was there until it was too late. So, I mean, Rambo stealth is pretty much the only way you'll ever see him coming is if you're in a goddamn city. And even then, you might not even see him coming. Yeah. Where Matrix, he's also able to adapt and blend, sure. But one thing I will give to Matrix, stay downwind. What, you think I could, or what, you think we could smell these people? I did.
Well, the big thing, the one edge I'll give to Matrix is, when I saw him in the Commando movie, is he has a lot of knowledge of the different weapons he stole from that store or that shop. So he has a lot of knowledge of the weapon system. So now Rambo, he does have a lot of weapon systems, but he chooses specific weapons for his fights. You know what I mean? Whereas Matrix, he'll choose almost any weapons he finds, pretty much.
Yeah, he uses he uses what he has and what he can find. I mean, Rambo will do the same thing, sure, because we see in Rambo 4, he'll take whatever he has, or he'll use whatever is available.
Exactly.
And also because it's like, well, there is this big ass 50 cal gun right here. Well, let's put it to some good use. And
and that scene, holy crap! Can you say brutal? It actually shows what a 50 caliber machine gun could do to a human body. It chews you up like a freaking meat grinder. Holy hell!
And the funny thing is, I've shot some of those weapons in real life when I was in the military, so I've had my share of that too.
I would love to shoot a Beret 50 cal.
Yeah. Well, thankfully I never killed anybody, because it was more of a, getting rid of all of ammo when we were leaving Afghanistan. But I've shot my share of those weapons too. They were so much fun.
One of the things I liked in Rambo 2 was the explosive tip arrows. He put one right into that. He put one right into a Vietnam soldier, and it's like, oh yeah, that dude's meat, or that dude's.
That's the yeah.
He's gonna be tenderized.
Yeah,
he's gonna be tenderized.
I will say this though. If Rambo is going to come after Matrix like that with his typical rifle and pistol, but off his bow and arrow, with those explosive rounds, then he can, if done right, he can sneak up on makeshift because, like I said, arrows can't hear them. And so if he shoots one of those and blows them up, that's it.
And the thing is, we've seen they put Matrix in a shed, in like a freaking tool shed, and they shot the shit out of the shed. And then it's like, okay, so all he did was like a cursory look around. They gave him like 30 seconds, and then they just blasted the shit out of that shed. And then they came in and realized, oh crap, we missed it. Now he's using our gardening tools against us.
Yeah, because he uses a pitchfork, he uses an axe, he uses those saw blades. He just completely turns those stupid ass soldiers into mincemeat.
Yeah. I mean, he's a master, or he uses improvised weaponry. He improvises for the situation. I just love how he scalped that dude, and it just only shows his hair coming off. He's like, oh! It's like, oh my gosh.
And of course, he uses a freaking hunk of pipe to beat the ever-living crap, and then one of the greatest one-liners of all time from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Yeah, he basically impales that guy at the end, pretty much. I forget his name, but he impales that guy at the end, with that pipe.
And just impale him. He freaking put it this way, folks. He put a damn tube or a pipe into the man, through him, to the point where the meat inside of that pipe that was in his body came out, and then it was still spewing out steam.
So just think about how much sheer force or strength you would need to be able to chuck a length of pipe like that into a guy with enough force to shove it right through his freaking body.
Yeah. I mean, if it would come to hand, Matrix has the advantage. He has the strength over Rambo.
Oh yeah,
true. But when it comes to the knowledge that Rambo has of war, where he basically is war, this man is not a person. Even look how he did his own freaking home. He turned those tunnels into a death trap and was not afraid to screw up his damn property in order to do it.
Let's not forget he's going to go graphic with you as the last scene of that movie too. He literally poor guy out. He went totally all in and out on that too.
Yeah, he went right up to that dude, put a damn knife through his chest, and ripped his heart out. Basically, it's like, you're gonna know my pain.
Yep.
And he freaking goes full freaking Mortal Kombat. Rambo is a savage when it comes to war. And I'm not saying savage like a derogatory term.
No.
Sensitive little bitches out there like Twitter. But he is a very brutal and savage fighter. And
if you think about it, go ahead, Orange. Go ahead, please.
I would hate to be on his shit list.
Yep. I've seen my share of raised, all kinds of combative programs, and dude, they don't play around either. Because the movies show one thing, but when we see the real life combative programs in real life, Green Beret, they don't play around at all. Because obviously in training, they're not going to kill each other, but when they're doing combative program and training like that, it's imagine two linebackers just duking it out on the freaking tarmac. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. And one of the things that I also noticed about Matrix and Rambo's not afraid to tell the person that he's coming.
Yep.
Rambo will go through whatever is in his way, as will John Matrix. But John Matrix does also prefer to not let you know he's coming. He'll do whatever he has to stay concealed until the last moment, or unless he has no choice. I mean,
okay, if we remove the matter of his daughter, and he was just going after, if he was going after these guys, he'd be like, "Hold on to your asses, I'm coming for them."
Yeah, but like I said, but then when his daughter was in the equation, that's when he really went start going boss on them, man. Yeah, it's one thing to be a soldier fighting your country, but then they kidnap your daughter. That's when he goes cut loose. Yeah,
it's like, okay, you're about to see why they call, or you're about to see a full Delta Force
Commando.
soldier at work.
Yep. But I will say one
Also,
thing.
I believe that was.
Mhm.
I also believe that was another movie that Bill Paxton and Arnold Schwarzenegger were in a movie together with, besides Terminator.
True Lies.
Yeah.
Yep.
True
True
Lies. You're
Lies,
right.
Terminator,
True Lies,
and
yeah.
True
Yeah,
Lies,
right.
Terminator, and Commando.
Yep. But
That's right.
I
Bill
will,
Paxton did have a cameo in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
but I was gonna say one more thing though. You guys are mentioning how Matrix will have more of a strength advantage, which is true. But like I said, I'll say to you guys, I'm 5'6" guy, was in the military, and I've taken down guys twice my size and twice as much of my size. So for me, strength is not going to be much of a factor because, like I said, Rambo's going to be strong. I would say this: Matrix is going to be stronger, but Rambo's going to be strong enough to get him off of him. He's going to be able to fight back and kick him off of him. So I wouldn't say strength is a big factor, but it is a factor nonetheless. But as far as who's going to come out on top, neither of them. Because like I said, John Rambo's got to have so many situations where some guy's stronger than him, and he still kicked your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Rambo literally cut a dude's head off.
Mhm.
And to be completely honest, folks, when you're decapitating a person, it's not really easy.
No, because you've got
True.
You got to go through bone. You got to go through meat,
muscle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to have a lot of freaking strength behind that swing. And Rambo just cut a freaking dude's head off like it was nothing.
Yep. Well, one thing is it's hard to decapitate somebody, but it's very easy to snap someone's neck. Actually, it only takes 5 pounds. It only takes 5 pounds of pressure to snap someone's neck. Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And while Schwarzenegger is the neck snapping king, freaking Rambo is
Decapitator.
Yeah, he's a decapitator. He's a freaking dismemberment. Rambo in Rambo 3, after he got shot in his abdomen, and it was a through and through, he knew he needed to cauterize that damn wound, or else it was going to just. And when I saw that scene, what he did with the gunpowder, and then putting it through his body, where you see the flame go through the wound and out the other end, it's like, oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah.
Improvised field. I gotta say, it's not something I would ever want to do.
Yeah, but so here's how I see it. This is me from a veteran standpoint. If I'm only saying it for the people in the chat, if Rambo is able to keep John Matrix at a not ridiculous amount of distance, but if he's able to maintain a space between him and Matrix and right back to his gun, yeah, Matrix is dead. Because like I said, the Green Berets are specifically trained to have mixed martial arts and mixed with gunplay. So the idea is that Green Berets and U.S. Army Rangers does this too. The idea is to maintain a space between you and an opponent. So you can do all kinds of grappling and fighting, but once the Green Beret and the Army Ranger was able to create that space between you and your opponent, they would pull the gun out and shoot them. So if Rambo was able to do that even for a slight second against Matrix, he's done, no matter what he does.
I mean, look what he did in the span of 2 seconds in Rambo 4 when the Burmese pirates were threatening to kill everybody.
That's a boat scene.
What he did was he took measure of the situation, knew where everybody was.
Their guns, yeah.
Then he just pulled his gun and put bullets through all 3 of them in less than 2 seconds. Or 4 of them.
So like I said, So like I said, if he's able to maintain a small window of space between him and Matrix, all he has to do is take that 2 seconds and Matrix is done.
Exactly. I mean, Rambo has. Rambo is also a person who sees this opportunity. He knew that he's like, well, this guy's just blathering. I'm going to slowly take stock of this entire situation. Okay, now I know what I need to do. Fuck you all. You're dead. Boom.
Yep.
And that was also a very powerful moment in Rambo 4, by the way.
Yep.
Or Mr. Preacher Man is like, we came here to stop the killing. Who are you? And then Rambo just grabs him and he's like, who are you? They would have raped her 50 times and cut your fucking heads off. Who are you? Who are any of you?
Yep. Me as a Christian myself is like, dude, you don't go to a war zone for ministry, man. Even me as a Christian myself, we don't do that. So, yep, he up in that one.
When it comes to religion, I think missionaries are the worst people ever. No offense to any missionaries out there. It's just you're going to a place to convert. What if they don't want to? And
I agree. Yeah.
What if your presence there ends up endangering them?
Yeah, but then, like I said, it all depends on the situation and where. But as far as I'm just saying, in this specific scenario, they were the wrong to go to a war zone. They were dumb enough to go to a war zone.
Yeah,
so I don't go that far up north.
I'm just saying, me as a minister's kid myself, I've done my own share of mission trips, so we don't go to war zones. Even my dad's not that dumb.
I mean, there was that missionary that went to a freaking cannibal island and got his ass killed, and everybody's like, we need to, or the whole freaking UN is like, do we need to send people there to eradicate the No, you need to stop sending missionaries there to get or to become food.
Yeah. Yep. But like I said, but going back to this though, like, if Rambo is able to keep that space between him and Matrix and take that 2-second delay, Matrix is done.
Yeah. But so basically, alrighty, so now we are almost at the hour. So I'm going to give the out of 10s. Out of 10 battles, Ambassador, who wins the most out of 10 battles?
Oh. I honestly have to say 10 times out of 10. As evenly matched as these two guys are, I'm going to say it's an even 50-50.
5 okay.
5 out of 5. Either one could take 5 times or anything because the skill sets are so stinking close. You have to get down like to the real tiny minutia of it to really,
I agree.
Really parse out a difference. So honestly, it's an even split. That's just how deadly these guys are.
All right, RC.
I would have
RC out of 10. Who do you think the most?
I would give 8 to Rambo.
Okay.
All right. Your reasoning?
Well, I was gonna say something before I gave my conclusion, but as far as, like I said, that small second delay of keeping space between Matrix, but my other hand is if Matrix is able to keep Rambo moving in his sights when he's doing all that shooting and all that stuff from the movie, if he's able to keep Rambo moving and not stay in one spot or not able to move around, he can close the distance and start, like you said, get the hand-to-hand combat, and that's when I think Rambo. But that's what I was talking about between maintaining space and using gunplay in your combat, your mixed martial arts. I gotta give a 6 out of 4. I mean, a very slim 6 out of 4 to Rambo, because if you guys never Rambo before, after that final battle, killing all those guys, he was exhausted, like almost dropped to his knees, exhausted. So that's how I see he coming out between Rambo and Matrix.
I think that's fair.
I mean, this is not a fight. This is not a fight that's actually going to, or this is a fight that could become a battle of attrition. Sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, my take on out of 10, I would give it a 6 to 4 with Rambo, because like I said, when that switch is pulled on Rambo,
yep,
he kind of, like as people say about John Wick, he's a man of focus and sheer will.
Oh man,
this is a dude that if you freaking put him in that mindset, do not get in his way. This is a person that put a bow and arrow in front of a mercenary's face with everybody else having a gun on him. And he's like, any of you boys want to shoot? Now's the time. Because here's the thing. they shoot him, or their merc leader is dead, because you're not going to be able to. That it's right in front of the dude's face, and he's like, "No, there isn't any other place where we'd rather be right now. But this is what we do, who we are. Live for nothing, or die for something."
Yep.
And I just everybody's like, or I love the commercials of Rambo. You know his name, you know his legend, and now it's like, oh my, yeah, but everybody says, or how come these guys didn't know who Rambo is? It's like, because Rambo wasn't really known around the world. If anybody around the world knew about John Rambo, here's the only thing they would know: he was arrested in the United States for pretty much domestic terrorism and blowing up a town. Left the United States. He was a distinguished Medal of Honor recipient in the Vietnam War. That's it. You don't know his skills. They don't know anything about him.
Yep.
I mean, all they knew him as was a boatman. And Graham McTavish, man, he was so good.
And he wanted to keep it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't need this. We're going back to the freaking boat. No, you're not. And I just love it, man. He's like, "What's your call? Let's move."
Yeah, well, like
command of that situation, like, we're going, and yeah, we're gonna save these people.
Nice.
But well, they were late getting out.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say after working with these guys myself in the military, yeah, they know how to do their jobs, and when it comes to doing the job done and done quickly, they'll do it. So
yeah, they'll do it dirty, and then they'll get out and get paid. Well, merc wise. And I just love that another line that Graham McTavish uses on the guy. He's like, "I'm not leaving without sir." He puts him on the ground. He puts a knife up to him. He's like, "God didn't save your life. We did. Now get up." And not like 20 minutes later, he has to freaking save his life because he stepped on a damn landmine.
So I got a perfect new versus for you if you're down for it.
All right, let me get my thingy out just in case. What do you got?
I think you guys will love this one. Conan the Barbarian versus Matthias the Scorpion King.
Or I did do Matthias before, or I did do Conan before. So Matthias, I'd actually have to look him up a little bit more, do a little research, but that actually does sound like it could be a good one.
Yeah, right. Come on, dude. Matthias, the Rock, the freaking Scorpion King. Come on, man. Come on, Orange. You gotta be better than that.
Yeah. So let's see.
But there is one versus match I've been trying to find for, but it's very hard to find. Is a 5-on ship battle between Grand Admiral Thrawn and someone else. I'll try to find that someone else right now. Right, who would be the perfect match to face off Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Well, I've got actually a couple. That's right up my lane because I love sci-fi and my avatar is based on Grand Admiral Thrawn. You could use Grand Admiral Thrawn versus Spock.
Mm-hmm.
That could potentially work. You could do Grand Admiral Thrawn versus Khan Noonien Singh from Star Trek.
Yeah, I was about to say, Khan would actually be a better thing. Well,
see, what I'm trying to say is that a 5-on-5 ship-to-ship battle, who is the better
space
admiral? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Who is the better? A commander of a fleet. Like, who's the one that's going to come out the best commander? That's what I'm trying to say. So that's
Oh, actually, I've got two for you. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Supreme Chancellor Martok rather.
For Klingons? Klingon Empire?
Yeah, from the Klingon Empire. Martok. Okay. Let's see. Who else? I feel like you need somebody from like Warhammer 40K if there's
or
like
Halo.
a really
or
if
Halo.
there's like
or Halo.
Yeah, or Halo. Like, Not the arbiter, the command. One of the elite generals or anything that was a fleet commander in Halo.
Yeah, that's where I'm stumped because, like I said, we all know who Thrawn is. So I'm trying to figure out who is the perfect rival out there who can actually rival, Grand Admiral Thrawn's career as a, tactician, like fleet commander. You know what I mean? That's where I'm stumped.
I honestly don't think you'll find a person. He wiped out a fleet just by studying art.
Pretty much.
You're not gonna. Nobody will beat Thrawn. That Rebels version that they did of Thrawn was a complete cock version of him.
I'll say this
a little bit.
I will say this. I will say this though. If we do Grand Admiral Thrawn versus Martok, I think that'd be a good fight because, like I said, it's true that Thrawn does study different cultures, different alien species, but he's never met the Klingons at all. He's not going to know who the hell they are. So this is a 5-on-5 ship to ship dropping cold kind of fight. There's no studying of anything. So Grand Admiral Thrawn is not going to know who the Klingons are.
But he would study their tactics. He would study everything, and it'd be like, okay, this is a nice formation. Well, I have about 1 million counters to it, so yeah.
Well, there's a bigger problem to that, though. He can study all the tactics. There's a lot of different tactics that the Klingons use, but they also have cloaking devices for all their ships. They can literally destroy a lot of the Imperial fleet just by, staying invisible.
Run.
Yeah, and run.
The problem. Only one Klingon warbird ever had the ability to fire from cloak.
Well,
they can fire. They can fire from cloak, but their shields would be down. That's the problem. All the shields would be down when they're cloaked. But yes, they can fire on their cloak.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, before we continue this, I am going to wrap up the stream because we have wrapped it up, and I do want to keep it on topic before we go. So, anyway, folks,
sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you for tuning in. And I thought that this was actually a very good one and a good kickoff to the new year. Get a little American respect because folks, indeed, Price is Right review. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
No problem, guys.
To all those other veterans out there who have served in the Army and the Armed Forces, thank you as well for your service. And for those who are currently serving, thank you for your service. Yes. Even if it is behind a desk, you're still an essential part of our country's military and whatnot. So anyway, folks, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you to Price is Right, Ambassador and RC from the NYC for joining. And
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, stay tuned in 2 weeks as we kick off episode 2, which is going to be Darth Malik versus Count Dooku. Sith versus Sith. And it's going to be a lightsaber match for this century. Mary Mayhem might be on that. It depends on whether she is available. I'll
be totally down for that one.
All right, so Price is Right.
If I'm free, put me down. Orange, put me down as a maybe for that one.
All right, let me just get over to it. And then,
and can I make a suggestion for a potential versus down the line?
Hold on.
No rush.
Sure. Possibly. And Price is Right.
Yeah, like I said, depending on my work, I'll definitely try to make it. Because when it comes to like Star Wars and Star Trek, because I only talk about Star Trek because my grandfather got me Star Trek all my life as a kid. So you can consider me the Ryan Kendall of Star Trek.
And what was your thought for another one?
This is actually an ensemble one. I don't know why it just came to mind, and I'm laughing thinking about it. The Dirty Dozen versus the Magnificent Seven.
Oh, wow.
Dirty Dozen. I don't think I remember that one.
That does sound good, but
Yeah, I was thinking The Seventh Samurai, but many people may not have seen that movie, so I'm gonna go to the American remake of it or reboot of it. So
my only stipulation when it comes to versus streams, don't get me wrong, it does sound like a great suggestion. My only stipulation is I actually, from the get-go, I need to have at least some idea of who they are. And honestly, I've never heard of. Well, I've heard of the Magnificent Seven. I just never got to the content that includes it, or the Dirty Dozen either. So, if I knew about them, I would definitely do it.
okay,
But unfortunately, I don't. Now, also, folks, this month has 3 versus streams. So Count Dooku and Darth Malik are in the next one. But after that one, oh, you guys are in for a great treat. I'm not going to spoil it. So if you want to know what's coming after that one, tune in 2 weeks to find out what it is. And just make sure that you have your reminder set when I put it up. Anyway, folks, thank you all for tuning in. Stunning and Brave Megatron, how you doing? I see you came in. Fenrir Fire, the Sentinel, thank you for coming in. Soul Assassin, Billitamp 73, Price is Right review, and who else was in here? Ambassadorial Wing, obviously, and RC from the NYC. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you catch this on the replay, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And yeah, this has been Orange Hat Reviews and Panel, and I'll see you guys next week when I begin doing the movie discussions for the Rambo series. So until then, folks, have a good one, and I will catch you all on the next one. And until then, stay humble.